Final Fantasy XVI is finally here, and it's an exceptional experience, with the overall experience punctuated by some of the most exhilarating boss battles in gaming history. There is a wide variety of enemies our hero Clive Rossfield goes up against, from swooping draconian creatures, otherworldly spectrals, and gargantuan icons. With dodging the game's chosen line of defense and stagger an opportunity to unleash hell on powerful opponents, Final Fantasy XVI's combat is deep and skillful. Here, we'll be going over 15 bosses that will really test your wealth of skills and abilities. Number 15. Tiamat. Not the most challenging of fights, this one. Instead, Clive's brief encounter with Tiamat is the perfect opportunity to road test all of Clive's iconic abilities learned up to this point. With Tiamat fairly easy to dodge, and with a stagger which takes minimal effort to engage, Tiamat's battle is more an opportunity to spam attacks and enjoy it, as much more difficult fare will emerge later on. Number 14. Fafnir of the North. Final Fantasy XVI seemingly takes inspiration from a raft of iconic video games, with this encounter with the armored beast Fafnir of the North being more than passing resemblance to a handful of the Colossi in the undeniable classic Shadow of the Colossus. Getting up close to Fafnir proves most fruitful, but the intriguing way it flexes its body when telegraphing an attack, almost snake-like, or perhaps as strange as it sounds, akin to some of marine reptile, can really throw players off if not accustomed. Number 13. Iron Giant. There's a touch of Dark Souls flavor here with this one. The Iron Giant is an armored mechanized behemoth lying in wait deep below the Phoenix Gate. Despite its size and presumed overbearing weight, this thing can certainly shift if it needs to, expertly capable of evading Cliff's swiftest attacks. Owing to Iron Giant's speed, dodging a tad earlier compared to other bosses in Final Fantasy XVI is crucial to avoiding its devastating blade, too. Number 12. White Dragon. There are numerous dragon-type creatures Clive faces in battle throughout Final Fantasy XVI. And whilst like the Akashic Dragon, the White Dragon found stalking the streets of the Crystalline Dominion edges ahead owing to its visually arresting ice crystal projectile attacks. Against the arena's murky backdrop, the sharp blue and white of the dragon's icy beams pop superbly on screen, looking especially gorgeous during the briefest of slow-mos of Clive's precision dodges. Number 11. Necrophobe. The spectral entity is encountered during Final Fantasy XVI's Fire in the Sky quest, and most notable of the Necrophobe is its wide range of attacks and elemental control. Beginning with a spinning charge attack, Necrophobe zips across the arena in an admittedly well-telegraphed attack pattern. However, its goal is to land up close and personal with Clive so it can unleash its spinning sword-like attack, hurling dangerous blades diagonally upwards. There are a handful of different projectile attacks which Necrophobe resorts to in keeping Clive at bay, and these aren't all necessarily distinguishable in the wind-up animation, forcing Clive to react lightning quick to whatever orb the Necrophobe chooses it already is hurling towards him. The Necrophobe encounter is a great test of key aspects of FF16's combat dodging. Number 10. Sharonda and Saparna. This 2v1 against a pair of swooping draconian entities may seem unfair at the outset, but Clive's fight with Sharonda and Saparna plays out more like a 1v1 fight. They fight up close to Clive with whichever of the two he scythed his sword through first, whilst the other lays waiting in the wings, launching AoE attacks. The checkerboard variant of the wind tunnel is a tough one to avoid, so it's a superb test of Clive's dodging skills. Both these creatures present a similar threat, but Saparna arguably has potential to be more dangerous, seeing as that one has the ability not yet encountered by Clive in the storyline. The swooping cinematic cutscenes are a feast for the eyes, too. Number 9. Hugo Kupta. Following Clive's slaying of his beloved Benedicta, Hugo Kupta is out for blood and vengeance. Make no mistake, this man's a bruiser, even without his iconic abilities. He appears a man who can crush the skulls of his foes with his bare hands. What's remarkable of this fight is there's barely any respite. It's a full-on assault of rapid-fire jabs like the opening rounds of a boxing match, only sped up, like in Fast Forward. The speed of this encounter only exacerbates the impact of the cinematic slow-mo, whereby Hugo's misjudged attempt at Hulk smashing a fallen Clive results in his hands getting poetically chopped off. Number 8. Benedicta. The dominant Benedicta plays fast and loose with her iconic abilities, wielding them with flagrant disregard for her opponent. Clive's medieval bout with her is eye-catching for its cinematic cutscenes too, which, if unaware, will catch players out with its sudden QTEs. Overall, the battle is fast-paced and electric, with Torgal on hand to dish out a gnashing bite or two for good measure. Number 7. Garuda. Another lengthy battle with this one fought mostly as Clive in his human form against the first icon of Final Fantasy XVI's questline, Garuda, although he eventually morphs into Ifrit in a climactic moment of rage, turning the tides in a previously gargantuan-sized match. The fight with Garuda is a patient war of attrition, with Clive whittling down her health whilst evading her ranged fireball orbs and tornado attacks. The cinematic Skyfall attack is most eye-catching here, with a barrage of debris preceding a tense button-mashing QuickTime event. Number 6. Ultima. Yes, in true Final Fantasy style, Final Fantasy XVI's final boss is a multi-stage epic, which some are touting as taking up to an hour of cinematic glory to complete. The final boss's first phase, Ultima Prime, is easily the stateliest. A 3-minute or so QuickTime event battle. As visually impressive as it is, the final boss battle only truly begins in its second phase when Clive and Ultima go head-to-head in an exhilarating one-on-one battle. Ultima really has only two go-to attack styles, brutal melee and magic assaults. Flare attacks, meteors, smites, these attacks are to be evaded only, but evasion really is the name of the game during this fight. It's the ultimate test of Clive's skill and ability developed throughout the questline, which precisely timed dodges chained together through close observation of Ultima's attacks the best strategy to moving the fight onto Phase 3 and beyond. Number 5. Ultimalius. Reminiscent to Ultima's second phase, sure, but Final Fantasy XVI's climactic battle has the added oomph of both Clive and Ultimalius going hell for leather with their powerful iconic abilities. Ultimalius' health bar barely depletes with every powerful attack, successfully spamming square and iconic face-off exploding into vibrant bursts of flame and shards, but who cares when the climax looks this good? Players may have already been battling for an hour by this point, but Ultimalius' final frames are such cinematic bliss that maybe an hour simply isn't long enough. Number 4. Typhon the Transgressor. Coming at the end of Clive's adventure at Drake's Head, the battle against Typhon's first phase sees our protagonist facing off against multiple Akashic enemies before awakening Typhon proper. Devastating area of effects attacks follow, but really the headline act in this battle is the second phase, when Typhon evolves into the multi-armed, supremely angry Typhon the Transgressor. As Ifrit, players are advised to get up close and personal with Typhon's more monstrous variant, as standing too far leaves Ifrit exposed to Typhon the Transgressor's eye-catching Satakusamine attack, a neon wave of bullet hell reminiscent of Returnal's most memorable bosses. Number 3. Titan. Clive's exorbitant bout with the Titan, and then ultimately Titan lost, is one of the most size-mismatched battles in all of Final Fantasy XVI, and that's saying something given that Clive is oftentimes at a significant size disadvantage with every boss he faces. The first phase is fairly standard, but once Titan lost is on the scene, things turn truly colossal, with the beast blowing literal holes in the side of mountains. The preceding freefall section belies an arcade sensibility, with Ifrit flinging fireballs into the ether in the hopes of stopping Lost Titan from unleashing his earth-shattering special moves. Bonus points for the slamming metal soundtrack too. Number 2. Ultima Rising. Rising into galactic atmospheres, and just missing out on this rundown's top spot, is the third phase of Final Fantasy XVI's final boss battle. Ultima's Ifrit Risen avatar engages in exhilarating aerial dogfighting with Clive's Ifrit Risen. And the supreme challenge here, one whereby Clive must accurately predict attacks which are incredibly hard to read before instantaneously evading and avoiding immense damage, will take the most getting used to. Staying close and strafing through Ultima Risen's rotating beam is key to unleashing incredibly powerful attacks. Even the smallest advantage can turn the tide in this intergalactic battle. Number 1. Bahamut. In at number 1, purely for the awesome visual spectacle, the King of the Dragons Bahamut casts a foreboding figure with a wingspan something like 20 times the size of Ifrit. As a showcase for Final Fantasy XVI's beauty, though, there's not much as visually striking as the lengthy bout against one of the story campaign's primary icons. The fight is one of FF16's most challenging too, with flare breath projectiles of the battle's first phase morphing into increasingly dangerous mega flares and giga flares in succeeding phases. As a saving grace, Clive learns to replicate some of the draconian Bahamut's fiery attacks, which, when used to great effect alongside the supporting Phoenix, the tide of battle will turn. A memorable spectacle eschewing the constant strafes and evasions of lesser boss fights. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.